Perfect song. John Lennon, imagine, perfect song for our next guest. He's one of the best sports guys really in the history of the media. He's that good. Mr. Detroit, Mr. Michigan, ESPN, he's done all that stuff. But when you get to know Mitch Albom, you get to find out that there's a heart in there that's bigger than his body. He's a wonderful writer. Tuesdays with Maury is one of the greatest books ever written. But his newest work, Finding Chica, a little girl, an earthquake, and the making of a family, is a beautiful book. It's a gut-wrenching book, to be honest, but it is a beautiful book. So first of all, Mitch, welcome back. Very nice, good to see you.
Thanks,
welcome
Sid,
back.
Bernie, great to see you guys.
Pleasure to have you back.
Thank you.
This is quite a piece of work. I couldn't do it justice. I don't think Bernie can either. So why don't you do us a favor and explain to the audience exactly what this book is about.
So I operate an orphanage in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. I have for the last 10 years. I went down right after the earthquake with no intention of doing anything like that. Wound up at an orphanage, ended up taking it over, and I've been operating it ever since, and I'm there every month. Wow. And 3 days before that earthquake, a little girl named Chica John was born into a little cinder block house, and 3 days later the house collapsed while she was in it, and somehow she survived, and her mother survived. And that night she slept out in the sugarcane fields, and for the next 6 weeks of her life, she was sleeping in the dirt. Her mother died 2 years later, giving birth to a baby brother because there were no doctors around. And she was brought to us, to our orphanage. And for the next couple of years, she was just this funny, bossy kid. And then at age 5, something happened to her. Her face started to droop. And when we looked into it, it turned out she had this thing called DIPG, which is a always fatal brain tumor. We brought her to America thinking, well, we have American medicine. We'll cure her. Sure. But they told us, no, she'll probably be gone in 4 months. And you should just take her back home and let her die. And I said, well, no, you don't understand this kid. She's a fighter. She was born into an earthquake. And if she fights, we're going to fight. And that began a 2-year saga with my wife and her. And we traveled all over the world trying to find a cure. And along the way, we found that we became a family. And the book is about how you make families even in your late 50s when you've never had children before, and suddenly there's a little girl who doesn't look like you, talk like you, come from you, but she couldn't have been more of our daughter than if she looked exactly like us. And she taught us a whole lot about what's really important in life, and her inspiration led me to write the book.
The book, which is called Finding Chica, a little girl, an earthquake, and the making of a family. And by the way, all the proceeds from this book go to the Have Faith Haiti Mission and Orphanage,
right?
The one that you run down there in Port-au-Prince. Unbelievable, generously. That doesn't even cover it. I mean, so anyway, you brought her to America, Chica. How was her life here in America? I mean,
well, I'll tell you this. In Haiti, there's no electricity at night. There's no, we don't have internet. We don't have television. We don't have anything. So she got to the airport, went into the girls' room, turned a faucet, and yanked her hands back because she'd never felt hot water from a faucet before. Right. She was shocked. So from the first minute she was here, America was like this amazing, incredible place. She saw roads that were paved, never saw that before, traffic lights, yards, pets, televisions. So it was, and that was kind of the fun of it. Her English was kind of butchered. It was her third language. And so as she discovered America with us, we sort of got this show. It was really a lot of fun.
That's awesome. One thing she didn't see, and we'll never see in our lifetimes, is Michigan beating Ohio State.
No, she never saw it.
We're never going to see
Wasn't
that
interested. Yeah.
No. Really? No. What, being that you're a sports guy and you
didn't have the slightest interest in sports.
No. I was reading the book. You guys never had kids, you and your wife.
That's right.
Right. So this was really your first shot at being a parent.
That's right.
And you loved it. And this girl, the last couple of years of her life were beautiful because of you guys. I couldn't help but get the feeling reading the book that looking back, I know you tried later in life and you just couldn't get it done. Yeah. Looking back, if you could do it all over again, you may have had a couple.
Oh, yeah. But what's ironic is now I have 52. As I have 52 kids. And it's funny, towards the end of Chica's life, she really handled the disease right up until the last few months. She was still her and all there, and then it debilitates you, and it eventually, robs you of the ability to walk. So I would have to carry her every place where she went. I was her bus, to the kitchen, to the bathroom, and we were sitting at the table, and we were coloring, and I looked at my watch. I realized I was late for work, and I pop up. I go, Chica, I got to go. She said, no, Mr. Mitch, stay here with me. I said, Chica, this is my job. And she said, no, it's not. Your job is carrying me. Wow. You know? Wow. And, I kind of like was floored by that. But then when I think about it, I wrote it in the book. That's like the biggest lesson I learned from her, is that my job was to carry her, and our job is to carry our children. And my job, probably now for the rest of my life, my sort of third act of my life, is going to be to carry these 52 kids, all of whom will be educated, all of whom will get college education. I've got scholarships lined up for every single one of them. My first two are in college already in America. The rule is they have to go somewhere in the state of Michigan so that I can see them and then come over for dinner. One of them is a pre-med, and he's 4.0. Wow. This is a kid who used to do his homework on his lap with a flashlight because we don't have any power at night, and now he's a 4.0 in America. Wow. And so in a way, to answer your question, I became, kind of... Now I have more kids in my life than the average person.
Sean Kemp.
Yeah. Good
funny.
reference.
That's funny. Mitch Albom, you're amazing. You're incredible, is all I can tell you. The book is Finding Chica, A Little Girl, an Earthquake, and the Making of a Family. And tonight you're going to be having a talk and a book signing at the Temple Emmanuel Stryker Center on 10 East 65th Street at 6:30 again. Temple Emmanuel Stryker Center. Mitch Albom. Go see him. He's incredible. Now, you can't talk enough about what you do. Right in this hemisphere, we have a place like Haiti, which was racked with poverty. I mean, it's unbelievable. But you've done a lot, not only with the orphanage, but you've done other things down there to try to alleviate some of that poverty. You've had showers built, stuff like that, and a bunch of other things. Tell us about it.
Well, I mean, you're talking about a country, the second poorest country on the planet, and the poorest in the Western Hemisphere. Average salary, if you have a job, is $2 a day. Most people are illiterate. Most 70% are in the poverty line. When we first got down there, our kids literally were using holes in the ground for toilets, and they would take a rock and go out in that area and bang the rock on the other rocks to chase the rats away, and then do what they needed to do, and then use the rock for toilet paper. That's when we got there. So we built the first toilets, we built the first kitchen, the first dining room, we built the first showers, and never seen a shower before. And when we turned on the water, like all the kids were looking up, I said, be careful because there's stuff's going to come out of there. And they couldn't figure it out, and then the water came out, and I swear it was like the Lord's first rainstorm. Like they were dancing and singing. I couldn't believe water was coming out of this thing. So to experience that and to experience real childhood, because there's no internet, there's no television, there's no cell phone. So you think about that. You get to watch kids grow up for the last 10 years, and I've admitted 46 of the 52 kids we have. So I sit there with them when they're 2 years old and listen to whoever brings them in and have to decide, well, can we say yes to this one? We're going to have to say no to 10 other ones who are waiting outside. So to watch these kids come in from the worst conditions. One of our children was left under a tree to die when he was 4 weeks old, and a woman picked him up, brought him to the police station. The police said, what'd you pick him up for? Now we have to do paperwork. Let him die. So we have kids like that who have been abandoned. So to watch them go through life and have no affectation, they don't think adults are stupid because they haven't watched any sitcoms where adults are stupid. Right. And Chica was the same way. It's just a blessing. It really is.
Mitch Albom, Finding Chica is the book. So my wife, the closest person to her in her life was her grandfather. Her mom was killed tragically when she was 8 years old. Her grandparents raised her. She loved her Poppy. A couple of years ago, she wakes me up in the middle of the night. She says, Poppy was here tonight. I said, what are you talking about? She goes, he was here. She said, this wasn't just a dream. He was here. Yeah. And I remember saying, I know you loved him. I love him. I know you miss him, but that's a little... And then here in this book, Chica's come to you. Yeah. She's come to you. That's not a dream. Like, you felt her presence.
Yeah. And I wanted to write the book that way because I didn't want anybody to... It's not a sad book, I didn't want anybody to think, I can't read that. I mean, I get to page 100 and I'm going to see she's going to die. I don't want to read the end of it. So right on the very first page, I tell people...
Brilliant.
What happened. She died in the spring, and now it's later. But she comes back to me, which she does frequently, because every morning... I would bring her downstairs because I get up early to write, and she got up early. My wife likes to sleep, and I knew she would have to take care of her the rest of the day. So she would come down to my office where I work on my books, and she would sit right by my left side. I'd give her a crayon or a doll or whatever. And, of course, she would interrupt me every 10 seconds. I said, Chica, I have to be quiet. Mr. Mitch, can I have another crayon? And so now I go down there, and I just sit there, and I just close my eyes, and all those conversations come back to me. So I wrote the book just like that. On the very first page, she's back saying, well, why aren't you writing about me? Right. You know, what are you writing these other things for? Tell me my story. And that becomes the book.
You're an incredible. I just can't say it enough. The book, again, is Finding Chica, a little girl, an earthquake, the making of a family. Temple Emmanuel tonight at East 65th Street. Mitch Albom will be there. All the proceeds from the book go to his orphanage in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Have Faith Haiti Mission and Orphanage. Mitch Albom, what drives you? Are you? You really make us feel like inferior moral beings. I got to tell you,
that's not what drives me.
You know, but are you a religious man or what? What?
No, it's not particularly religion. Or you know, I have my faith, but that's not really it. I just feel that. You know, I've had a lot of good things happen to me very young. I was one of those people that, you know, I was a pretty successful young sports columnist, and I got on ESPN, and I had a lot of things happen. And I was, the first part of my life, I wasn't particularly kind to anybody. I mean, through my 20s and into my 30s, I was just ambitious. I just wanted to get ahead. Not at anyone's expense, but I wanted to do well. And then, you know, I went through that Tuesdays with Morrie experience where I saw my old professor, who I had lost touch with because I had been so ambitious. And I went to him and started going to him every Tuesday and watched him die basically in front of me and watched that nothing that I was doing was important to him at the end of his life. His work, none of that mattered. Just his family, just the people that he loved. And he gave me a really good education and like, well, you can keep going the way you're going to go, but then if something like this happens to you, you're not going to have a whole heck of a lot. And that was a real turning point for me. And ever since then, I've just sort of involved myself more with people. Haiti was an accident, you know, but you can't walk away from it. You know, I was there 3 weeks after the earthquake, and when you see people walking around covered in white dust and all their possessions are in the street and they're drinking water from the ground because there's no water and they're begging you for, they're filthy water. Yeah. And then you see children who are, you know, have no clothes and they're lying in the dirt. You can't just say, well, I'm just going to go home and watch a football game.
Right.
So I came home and wrote about it and brought some guys back down and we started to build it. The next thing I know, I took it over. You know, it's like, I still don't know why I offered to do that because I had no experience in running an orphanage. It's not like a sports writer. That's the other thing you do. You write your story and then you go run the orphanage. But it became my life, and those kids are more important to me than anything else that I do. So I don't know the reason why. I just think it's in front of me.
Well, whatever the reason is, it's wonderful for you, it's wonderful for the children, and it just built your legacy, which is already cemented as one of the all-time greats. Quickly, Carlos Beltran, right hired by the Mets?
I don't know. I don't have an opinion on that. Sorry. I don't know him very well. I mean,
okay, fair enough.
Look, I live in Detroit. We don't have baseball anymore. Okay? All we do is just supply other teams with our players, and we're very happy that the World Series went to one of our guys and not the other one of our guys. Scherzer got it and Verlander did, and that's how we look at baseball in Detroit.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay, the book is Finding Chica, a Little Girl, an Earthquake, and the Making of a Family. The author of Tuesdays with Morrie does it again, but this one, well, they're both great books. Mitch Albom, thank you so much.
Yes. My pleasure, guys.
Really,
great to see you
an
guys.
Honor. You're a great guy. Tonight, Temple Emmanuel, East 65th Street, 6:30. Don't ask him about Carlos Beltran. On the Bernie and Sid Show, we're coming right back.
I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God.